Finally, Emeka Ike's wife has come out to talk about what she suffered in a 17 years old marriage with the veteran actor Emeka Ike. Hello, everyone. You're so much welcome. Emeka Ike has been off the scene for over a decade and for many reasons. For those of us who are not Gen Zs, who were old enough when Emeka Ike got married to his wife and throughout their marital journey, we knew as these things they go at that time. Although social media was not this grounded in our space, but we still had the TVs and we also have the print media where such popular scandals and events were reported. Emeka Ike came out about a few days ago on channel television where he was interviewed and he talked about all the things his wife did, how his wife sold all his properties and he left the UK with just one bag, how he took her as a young girl, put her into university, saw her through school, and built a school and put her in charge of it, and also that he built a house for her mom, and so many other things. And at his school, he lost his school of over 450 million naira and all of that. And of course, people were like, oh, Emeka is back. More so because he's a lead character in Toyin Abraham's movie, the new movie in the cinemas called Malaika. In fact, Toyin said it was intentional that she had to go and look for Emeka Ike and has been talking to him since last year. And here we are. So it was more of, promoting the movie, one. Then two, Emeka himself is a content, and for somebody who has really been hiding away, he's not done any movie in over a decade and all of that. So there's so much that has been going on in his life. So after this, a lot of people were like, what's going on? No be the same story where we all know be this. It's okay if he feels like this. Because the wife would never. She has never come out for once, not in any print media or social media, to drop a line about her marriage. Nobody has ever heard Emma speak. We were pleasantly surprised this morning when we saw her feature in an interview with Jude. You need to watch the video. Like I always say, when somebody comes out and the other party is quiet, we never can assume until you hear from the other participant. So for the first time, the wife said, no, I'm going to speak for myself this time around. I have never granted an interview before. I've never spoken about what happened in my marriage before, but now I have to speak up. So now we carry seats. Come sit down. Hear what Emma has to say. Emma is a very young, beautiful woman. No, she's not young anymore. She's like in her 40s now. But she met her husband when she was just 18, just out of secondary school, and she was going for modeling jobs and doing a small modeling. And she met Emeka, and Emeka was like, oh, that she actually wanted to get into Nollywood at that time. But Emeka got close to her and they started dating. And from then, when it became more serious, he said, I don't want you to be in the limelight. Forget about your modeling thing. That in fact, one modeling agency at that time had contacted her to say, okay, she should come and sign a contract. But Emeka said no. That because he is in the public space, they will always drag him. People will always talk about him. And he doesn't want the same to be done with his wife. He's not going to make their marriage work. And so she lied to her parents to say the agency did not pick her. So that was like the end of that modeling career. And for Nollywood as well, she forgot totally about it and just faced marriage. Now, so did they do the marriage, they go. Then she said they got to a point where Emeka became very abusive, that he always had temper. For those of us who has been watching Emeka's video from time immemorial, well, we can't really say that's the attitude we see in movies is who the person is, right? But she said, well, he's not far from that. That a lot of times he would abuse her, he would do this, and she would not talk. If there's one thing we can give this woman, is that she's extremely patient. Apart from Emeka coming out on Channel TV to talk about this thing, Emeka has constantly been talking about his ex-wife. constantly. And every time is about what she did and not what he did. Now I'm going to do a few comparisons between what he said and what Emma said at the interview with Judy. Emma said the abuse went on. There was a time they took their child to the hospital and there was no money. And she was trying to negotiate with the hospital to say, okay, we'll come back and pay the money. And Emeka came and gave her basbos and started shouting at her. And she said she talked back at him to say, why are you behaving like a jerk? You know, that kind of thing. And the next thing, but she phone let she lójú nìyẹn. Pé àtìgbà yìí lòun ti ń stand up fúnra wọn pé bọ́bọ́ yìí ò lè wá pa mí, ara ọmọ ìyá kò sówó ta fẹ́ fi sílẹ̀. Ó ní òun ò bá wọn hospital yẹn negotiate dáadáa àbí òun ò bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀. Oh, then we are here. Do the negotiation, not for you to be abusing me or all those kind of things. So now so the thing they go. They now say, Madam, is it true that he built a house for your mother? She said no. That her mom has always been a single mom, but she was very hardworking and she saw them through school. And they were already living in their own house. However, her mom wanted to renovate a house, I think in Owerri. And because she was married to Emeka at that time, he said, okay, don't worry, I will support your mom. And he helped her with the renovation. That was all about it. That there's nothing that shows that he built the house for her or anything. That he helped her with the resources, and she built the house, which they are grateful for. Now in the context, say, okay, madam, why? What happened at some point and some point? She said, well, she took that thing, and there was a time they had another fight. Bí Emeka ṣe fún òun ní ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ lọ́rùn nìyẹn, bóun ṣe paralyze nìyẹn pé òun ò lè feel sensation lára òun brother mọ́. Wọ́n ṣàgbé òun lọ sí hospital. But tóun tún gbádùn, she went back to her husband's house. And this is like a pattern of a woman who is constantly abused, because it's always a chain. For those of us who have been seeing all these kind of stories or seeing people around that have been in these circumstances, is what is called like Stockholm syndrome, where you just go back to your abuser and all of that. So now, so this woman say she they bear everything, they bear them small, but it got to a point she was tired. When asked about the school, that how did she sell the school and everything, she said no, that the school was not their own property, that they rented it. And there was a plan for them to do like a long lease, like a lot of school owners do. When you first rent the building, then all of a sudden you just feel like, okay, let me take a longer lease and all that. So that was the agreement. But Emeka did not fulfill the financial obligation. So that this talk of sold out, that how is she supposed to sell a property that is not his? That the name on the property is not her own name, is not her husband's name. So how is she supposed to sell that kind of property on CMD Road, Magodo? And really, please do your research, because since Emeka spoke, a lot of people who care to know have been researching. Go on Google and put Emeka Ike's school owner. His name is Chief Akirun or something, one octogenarian who narrated in a long interview about this interview is way back as 8-9 years ago, where the man said how his son said he should rent the place to Emeka, that is a known actor and everything, and Emeka was reneging on his payment, and he wanted to take him to court, and Emeka will beg and he will withdraw. So nígbà tí gbogbo center could not hold, the Baba had to keep fighting for his property, spending money to court. Baba tí ò lè rìn. Please go and check that report. You know, that man, bóyá Baba náà ṣì máa wà láyé ńsìn, k'Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kẹ́mi wọn kó gùn, but as at that time he was about 80-something years old, which is like almost close to a decade. So she now said, na so Emeka go change today, say the property was 400 million before. Now that he granted interview to Channels Television, he said it's 480 million. Property will not be their own. But as they rented the thing, and as they were about to transit to long lease, they were doing it small, more on Lara, so that it can have the ambience, because it's a secondary school with boarding and day facilities, so there's a lot to be done. Where it wasn't as if the money was so much there. You know, at that time, contentment was still okay. We don't have the kind of inflation we have now. When you know, okay, this person work, we go see money, okay, we go use this one, do this one, we go use this one, do that one, you know. And that if she was not resourceful, he wouldn't have even trained her through school and now put her in charge of a business. and that the business was growing. For those who stays around CMT Road at that time, way back as 10, 15, 18 years ago, they will understand all these things. And of course, they asked her to say, okay, what changed about the husband she married? She said, well, he got into substance abuse. But she didn't even know. It was even their child that Coco saw that thing. And the thing was like, that was one of the things that made the issue was that ìjọ kan wà Emeka lu òun tẹ́ pé ọrùn òun tóun sọ pé Emeka jọ tó bá tún gbá mi lẹ́sẹ̀ kan sí o ẹ̀mí òun máa lọ. And he was like, mama, it's not me doing this, it's you that wants me to do this. Those are the signs of someone who is not mentally balanced or is under the intense influence of substance, right? So that's the events they go. If you remember those years, it got so bad. They were attending the House of God Church by Pastor Chris Okotie. Now why I talk say this matter no be for Gen Z people that really understand, except they go into research. Go on Google, is there way back. At that time, when Gbogbo Gbasgbozi was too much, Emma ran to the pastor. And the pastor intervened. At that time, when anything happens between you and your pastor will go say make you go buy for there. Where nothing else where you fit do. But at that time, Chris Okotie was like, this thing is becoming too much. Don't touch this woman anymore. She's the mother of your children. And pastor shielded her. And even like got her a place temporarily for her to stay with her children. And also helped her with the court proceeding. But if you're not going to stop this thing you're doing, then this woman will divorce you so that you can leave her and let her go. You can't keep maltreating a woman and still wanting her at the same time. And as that was going on, a lot of his colleagues, because Emeka was high up there in the Actors Guild of Nigeria, AGN, with the likes of Segun Arinze, Ibina Beresima, Kate Enshaw, Emeka Osai at that time. And those ones too, because they know that this thing is not good image. We're talking to Emeka to say, Emeka, calm down. Work this thing out with your wife. But he wasn't listening and he fell out with those ones. And those ones issued a statement to say, you're not part of us anymore because your public image is sinking. Emeka even said it in that channel interview to say, when they got to court, that his wife, in his words, his wife went to divorce herself. And when they got to court, that he was kneeling and begging her with his family members, kneeling to say, come back for your children. Don't leave this marriage. And she said no, that she was done. Now, for Emeka to claim that he knelt down to beg her, after all the dragging, all the issues they've been having, that the pastor has intervened and everything, means that this woman is not the devil you're trying to paint. A man who has seen Shege Banza in the eyes of a woman, and she now took him to court, will be the one to be happy to say, Madam, they go. But he said he was begging. He was kneeling and begging, but she refused. Because, you see, if no sane woman who you have married or you've been with from age 18, right, and had 4 children for you, will want to live a secure marriage. But if the abuse, yes, a man can nurture a woman. We see, and this woman, like she said, apart from the school kind of thing, her own dreams, she paused it. She wanted to be a model, she wanted to be in Nollywood. But you can see that it was a dream that a lot of young women at that time had. But she let go of the dream because of the marriage. And when the school no longer owed again, the woman said she had to be sleeping everywhere she sees. So it's just the case of, yes, Emeka has the right to talk. But if you watch Emeka's videos, not just the channel one, please go to YouTube and toggle it in the search bar. Emeka Ike talking about his ex-wife. You will see the kind of toxicity and the kind of narcissistic behavior that shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And, okay, whatever has happened has happened. That's way back as 10, 13 years ago. Tony Abraham has brought you now to come into to do a movie which you've done and it's successful, and you guys are selling it and premiering it, and you're granting interview. Must you now still talk about that dead marriage? It was not necessary. You have talked about it over and over and over again, Emeka, and it should be fine. You have moved on. You have married a South African woman. I don't know if she has children for you, or I think the woman has children before, or she now has for him. Whatever that is, their business. But you've moved on. Would you think your new wife, your present wife, will be happy that you are now still talking about your past? We don't finish. And this woman has never for once come out to talk about you. That's why a lot of people who have been saying, this woman shouldn't have talked. I think something is wrong. I think their thinking faculty is not balanced. Because if it is, somebody has been coming out doing the one to be talking all this while. And the woman said, for once, I am going out to say my own, whether anybody wants to believe it or not. Now, person we don't buy no go fit defend herself now. You know, go fit defend herself. And this woman said, when she was done, that she's been every time you just come out, do one interview, and I just watched about 2 or 3 whatever on YouTube now, and I'm like, Emeka, you shouldn't have just dug this grave. You should have just let sleeping dogs lie. And she said in this interview with Shude that he would not believe it that she can come out to talk because she's not the talking type, number one. If she had wanted to talk, 60 people there now. We get TV stations at that time now. People shall they talk still at that time. At least people of their caliber and everything. But he would not believe that she just told herself, you know what, enough is enough. Whenever he wants public sympathy, he would just come out and start talking about her. So, it was just so much happening. And like, of course, the man has the right to come and talk about what happens in his marriage. But I think Emeka has said enough for the benefit of his 4 children, because he said his 4 children are with his wife. The wife won him in court, hands down, because of the sterling evidence. A woman where in family no be anybody, where no gets money in court, was able to prove beyond any reasonable doubt in the courts, and the judge had to grant her the divorce that this center can no longer hold. You have shown evidence of great domestic V and, those kind of other behaviors and all of that. So yeah. And yeah, she won you with divorce. All your colleagues, the AGN, even the veteran actors, let's see all these 5 years ago, 7 years ago artists. We are talking about the oldies. None ever came out to speak for you. Also Emeka also said in the interview with Granted Channels that when they were having the issue, Festus Keyamo was his lawyer. And at a point, Festus Keyamo advised him. That was before Festus got into politics. So for you people who know this thing good, they know what's at the talk. When Festus Keyamo was like the reigning lawyer in Nigeria at that time, any case we hot. Now on top Festus table, the Gode. Those who knew his office at Maryland, Ikeja, will understand what I'm saying. And Festus advised him to say, it's better you close this school. You can't win the case. Because as a school owner, they can't be hearing all the evidence about you of what your wife alleged on you. And the fact that she won you in court, you can't be a school owner, because what will you be training the children? When all evidence are so clear on your face that your DV level is very high. So for a lawyer of that caliber to be able to advise him to say, you know what, fight your battles. But there are some that you don't even try it. You can't still be the owner of that school. Let it just go. Shut it down. Count your losses. Whatever amount you still owe the landlord, make una this house owner, make una the work amongst yourselves. So it's just like everybody that had sense were advising him, telling him, this guy, you're losing it. And Emeka should please. We know there are some women there, but the evidence against Emeka is so much. Everybody was against him. A man way good, where your wife no good. By the time the pastor gets to court, by the time his association talks, by the time the pastor talk, everybody cannot be against one person. I stand to be corrected. Okay, that one don't go like this. It's been messy. It's gone. Fine. You're now starting on a clean plate, and you think the best thing to do is to bring that same issue that has cost you so much. Of course, you will go into depression because you didn't know it was going to turn out this way. You didn't believe that she would even leave you. When even if you put a woman who gets sense into wealth, even if she's from the trenches, and you still find her resourceful enough to head one of your companies, not just for 1 year, for several years, right? And you've not accused her of wasting your money, Emeka. You've never accused her of, what would I say, of infidelity. Then you guys had gone through some things that you would have either sat down, or because it's not working, au revoir, make everybody they going on. For coming online when receipt today, evidence plenty for ground. Elita Google, Elita. I've been seeing some comments of some of these veteran people. Maybe I'll do that in another podcast, saying that Emeka, don't go this route you're going. Your wife Emma doesn't talk. Don't push her. But now today, where Emma don't talk, everywhere don't scatter. Because man and woman, if the center no longer old, before you go turn kolo, or before you go find yourself under the grave, remember Osinachi matter wey we still dey use as case study. Make una waka so that you go dey alive to take care of your children. Ire o.